everyone. My name is Esther Tatay and I am going to introduce to you the current ratio. Current ratio is a liquidity that measures the company's ability to pay its short-term debt or those payable within 1 year. Current ratio's formula is current assets divided by current liabilities. In calculating this, analysts compare current assets to its current liabilities. So if the current ratio is less than 1, it means that the company doesn't have enough money on hand to pay its short-term debts or obligations. On the other hand, when the current ratio is greater than 1, it indicates that the company has financial resources to pay its short-term obligations.
Good day, this is Ken Rose Waupan and I will define to you what a quick ratio is.
This is the formula of quick ratio: cash short-term plus marketable investments plus receivables over current liabilities.
It is the most conservative test of a company's liquidity because it only includes the more liquid assets, or also referred as the quick assets, in relation to current liabilities. A higher quick ratio indicates a greater liquidity. This ratio also reflects the fact that inventory may not be easily converted into cash.
Hello, I am Ella Hamyo, and I am here to show you Jollibee Foods Corporation's current ratio for the years 2015 to 2019. As we all know, to get the company's current ratio, we need the company's total current assets and total current liabilities. Then, we must divide the total current assets to the total current liabilities. Now, to solve for JFC's current ratio in 2019, we must look at JFC's balance sheet. The total current asset is 45,628,000 and the total current liabilities is 62,030,000 pesos. Dividing it, the current ratio for 2019 is 0.74, which means that for every 1 peso worth of debt JFC has, its asset equivalent is 74 centavos. This is a summary for JFC's current ratio for the years 2015 to 2019. As you can see, for the year 2015, the current ratio is 1. For 2016, it is 1.27. For 2017, it is 1.39. For 2018, it is 1.25. And lastly, for 2019, it is 0.74. Looking at the graph, JFC's current ratio is increasing from 2015 to 2017. However, it had a slight decrease in 2018 and had a huge decrease or drop in 2019. To know what caused these changes, we need to examine JFC's balance sheet. Comparing 2018 and 2019 values are important to know what caused the huge decrease in 2019's current ratio. There is a slight decrease in the company's cash and short-term investment from 2018 to 2019, but the company's accounts receivable, inventories, and other current assets increase. So, there might be other factors that cause this change, right? Looking at the company's current liabilities, we can see that there is a huge increase in the company's short-term debt and current portion of long-term debt from 2018 to 2019, from 5 million pesos to 26 million pesos. Also, an increase in accounts payable, income tax payable, and other current liabilities. Hence, the reason why JFC's total current liabilities increase is because all the components under the current liabilities increase as well. And that's how we solve for a company's current ratio and examine its changes. Up next is another type of liquidity ratio.
Good morning. I'm Mila Jane Respicio, and I'm going to present Jollibee Foods Corporation's quick ratio. But what do we mean by this quick ratio? According to Corporate Finance Institute, quick ratio, also known as the acid test, is a type of liquidity ratio which measures the ability of the business to pay its short-term liabilities by having assets that are readily convertible into cash. The quick ratio can be computed as the sum of cash and short-term investments and the total accounts receivable divided by the total current liabilities. For the case of the Jollibee Foods Corporation in the year 2019, the amount of cash and short-term investment is 23,097,000 plus the total accounts receivable of 5,951,000 divided by the total current liabilities of 62,030,000 pesos. So for the year 2019, the quick ratio for the Jollibee Food Corporation is 0.47. On the year 2018, the amount of cash and short-term investment is 24,169,000 plus the total accounts receivable of 4,863,000 divided by the total current liabilities of 34,185,000. This gives us a quick ratio for the Jollibee Foods Corporation in the year 2018 of 0.85. The computation of the quick ratio for the year 2017, 2016, and 2015 is the same as in 2019 and 2018. This table and bar graph will show us the values of the quick ratio for the 5 years. For 2019, it is 0.47. For 2018, it's 0.85. For 2017, it's 0.98. For 2016, it's 0.88. And for 2015, it's 0.85.
This is Carmela Arianco, and for this part of the video, I will be discussing the industry analysis of JFC along with its other competitors. We will compare JFC's current ratio to its competitors such as McDonald's, Denny's, Starbucks, and Dunkin' brands. So, the group has decided to compare JFC and its competitors with 5 years worth of current ratios that will be shown in the next clip. So, in 2015, the initial year, it appears that McDonald's, Dunkin' brand, and Starbucks has dominated over JFC. However, they regained a higher liquidity compared to Starbucks. As what you can see in the table, JFC's current ratio increased. However, in 2018, JFC's current ratio sharply decreased. After a thorough analysis of their financial position, it is concluded that the cost of the decline in their liquidity is due to the 81.45%. 81.45% can be seen in the Excel file, which is shown in the liquidity part of JFC. And due to the 81.45% increase of the total current liabilities, along with the sharp increase of short-term debt and other current assets, even though JFC's assets were increasing, its liabilities increased too. It is clear that the total liabilities outweigh the total assets of the firm. Thus, based on this analysis alone, we can conclude that the company is not liquid enough to cover its short-term obligations. Excuse me for the paper. That was the Excel file so that I can explain to you clearly. And this concludes the industry analysis current ratio part of this video.
For us to have a better picture of the industry analysis of JFC, we will also be using the quick ratio formula or the acid test ratio formula, which is the cash plus short-term investments plus current receivables minus the inventory and minus the prepaid expenses over the current liabilities. So what we have here is the top competitors of of JFC, we have McDonald's, Denny's, Dunkin' Brands, and Starbucks. So what you can see here is the quick ratios of each competitors, McDonald's, Denny's, Dunkin' Brands, Starbucks, and also from JFC from 2015 to 2019. As for the comparison of its quick ratio to other four competitors, we observe that in the year 2016, the ratio of JFC is higher than Denny's, McDonald's, and Starbucks. But in the year 2017, McDonald's increased its quick ratio higher than the JFC. In the year 2018 to 2019, JFC's quick ratio were lower than McDonald's, Dunkin' Brands, and Starbucks, but higher than Denny's. So in the past 2 years, JFC has lesser ability to pay its short-term obligations than McDonald's, Dunkin', and Starbucks.
Hello, my name is Jadeline Kwamag, and I'm going to talk about the current ratio of Jollibee Foods Corporation. So the formula of current ratio is equals to current assets over current liabilities. To compute this one for the year 2019, current assets over current liabilities, the answer for this is 0.74, which means that the company is not liquid and they did not meet its current obligations as for year 2019. We should remember that for every peso worth of debt JFC has, its asset equivalent is 0.74, which is very low. To know the current ratio for the previous years, we should do the same thing, and here are the answers. Notice its ratio or its liquidity from years 2015 to 2017 increased, but it started to decrease from years 2018 and 2019. We can see in the graph that there is a decline from 2017 to 2018, but JFC can still pay its obligation because its ratio on years 2017 is 1.39 and the ratio for 2018 is 1.25. For year 2019, there is a big decrease on the graph. To know what happened on that year, let's take a look on the balance sheet for that year. We can see on GFC's total current liabilities that from year 2018 to 2019, there is an increase on its other current liabilities, and it is because of the presence of the short-term debt, which is not seen on years 2016 and to 2018.
Hello, I am Jessamiras Cañas. So let's proceed to the quick ratio. So quick ratio is the second tool to measure the liquidity of the firm, which is the JFC. Just like in the current ratio, it mainly deals with the accounts of the current assets and liabilities. In the Excel file, difference of the current ratio and quick ratio is very noticeable since it has dropped by more than 50. So as you can see there, the result of the quick ratio from 2015 to 2019 are 0.85, 0.88, 0.98, 0.85, and 0.47 respectively. It is clear that the results are less than 1. So it can be interpreted as for every 1 peso worth of liabilities, the company has funds of let's say in 2015, 0.85 and in 2019, 0.47. The normal quick ratio is 1. If the company has a quick ratio of 1, it means that the company is capable with exactly enough assets to pay off its current liabilities. So the values resulted less than 1. It increases the financial risk of the company due to this result. How can the company pay off its short-term obligation when its current assets are not enough to pay off its current liabilities? It is evident that JFC's highly liquid assets or quick assets may not be able to fully pay off its current liabilities. It can be concluded that the company relies heavily on its inventories. Therefore, JFC is not liquid enough to cover its short-term obligations.
And for the last portion of this presentation, I, Kylie Dayan Ipatayan, will present to you the recommendations of our group. Jollibee Corporation, through the years, acquires and extends their business operations through different parts of the world, bringing with them the food that everybody loves and the quality service that guarantees more and more consumers. However, as shown in JFC's liquidity ratio and industry analysis, it seems that the company heavily relies on its inventories and having insufficient amount of current asset to cover its current liabilities. While the company reports increase in current asset as a result of opening more and more stores, the current liabilities are also rising. It includes additional amount to salaries, wages, and employee benefits as the expansion requires new employees. This exposes JFC to liquidity risk that their financial liabilities are not serviced in a timely manner, thus affecting the amount of current asset that they hold. While the computation shows decreasing values in its liquidity ratio and in industry analysis when comparing to other competing companies, it does not mean that JFC is not liquid in its financial aspects totally. This decreasing values shows that their liquidity has lessened over the years since 2015. To counterpart this, Jollibee Group's cash and banking team monitors its liability and deficiencies. The cash outflow from major expenditures are planned so that the money market placements are also planned in time with the planned expenditures. JFC has also short-term cash deposits and has available credit lines from accredited banking institution when there is sudden deficiency. In conclusion, we recommend that JFC must find stability in terms of its liquidity ratios until such time that they can recover from its losses as a company and recover from the pandemic. For sure, for the post-pandemic era, there will be more adjustments that can affect their financial stability and their quality service that they are offering for long years.